At the class reunion, I accidentally ended up in bed with the school heartthrob who hated me the most. When I found out I was pregnant, it was already too late for an abortion. I had to find him and propose. Let's get married. He pushed me away in disgust, his face full of disdain. The hell I am familiar with you? I threw the pregnancy test report at him and said coldly, I'm not familiar with you, but the child in my belly is quite familiar with you. You personally shot it in.
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
In the 7th month after the incident with Ethan, I finally found out I was pregnant. By then, the fetus could no longer be aborted under normal circumstances. I had to take the diagnostic report and go find Ethan. I didn't have his contact information, so I waited near his place for a full 2 weeks before finally running into him by chance. I immediately went up to stop him and told him straight out that I was pregnant. The moment he saw me, disgust was already evident on Ethan's face. Hearing what I said, his expression slowly turned icy, and he said in a deep voice, You're pregnant? What does that have to do with me? Yours. He couldn't even be bothered to look at me, keeping his eyes on his phone messages. His tone was casual. If you're pregnant, just get an abortion. It's impossible for you and me to have a child. Obviously, he didn't believe me. I shook my head and said, It's too late for an abortion. Ethan, let's get married. My tone wasn't a plea but a firm statement, which thoroughly angered Ethan. He finally looked up, stared at me coldly for a long moment. Then he stepped forward, brushing past me and bumping my shoulder hard enough that I lost my balance, stumbling sideways and almost falling. The man turned back, looking down at me with unconcealed disdain in his eyes, his tone somewhat mocking. Want to marry me? Did you forget to wear your glasses or your face when you left home today? I've seen toads lusting after swan meat, but you're the first to just bring a pot to the table. Sophia, forget whether you're even worthy of marrying me. First tell me, are we even that familiar? I didn't want to waste any more words on him. I took out the pregnancy test report from my bag and threw it at him. I'm indeed not familiar with you, but this child. I paused, then said, That night, you personally shot it in. It's quite familiar with you. He froze, picked up the report, glanced at it, and confirmed I wasn't lying. A light autumn breeze rose, blowing my dress and hair back. Ethan's gaze fell on the prominent baby bump under my loose dress. He gritted his teeth hard. 28 weeks, 7 months. So the person who came to my room and had a go with me that night was you? The night Ethan referred to was our high school class reunion. Halfway through the reunion, the class belle, Lily, brought out wedding invitations and handed them out, inviting everyone to her wedding. Everyone was shocked when they saw the groom's name. The bright and lively class belle had actually ended up with the usually silent and reserved class president. Everyone teased the class president, saying he usually seemed unapproachable but had been making moves behind the scenes. The newlyweds-to-be let everyone joke around, and the atmosphere was lively. The only one who didn't fit in was Ethan, drinking alone in a corner. I knew he had liked Lily for many years, harboring a secret crush on her. Back then, he had argued with his family to transfer from the international class to ours because of Lily. During school, he often wrote love letters to Lily. I was his desk mate, and he frequently ordered me to deliver them. On the day of the college entrance exam, he planned to confess to Lily in person but saw her and the class president sharing a passionate kiss in a secluded bamboo grove. At the dinner table, I sat across from him, some distance away, watching helplessly as he drank an entire bottle of baijiu. Noticing my gaze, Ethan looked over at me with bleary eyes. He gave me a self-mocking smile, then lowered his head to pour more wine. I averted my eyes, focusing on my meal while listening to Lily talk. This sweet and sour pork ribs were delicious, and the candied sweet potatoes were great too. I was in a good mood, eating heartily. Suddenly, Lily mentioned me. Speaking of which, the person Ainyen and I need to thank the most for getting together is actually Sophia. Back then, she acted as the messenger between me and Lucas, always helping Lucas deliver love letters. That's when I found out that Lucas and I actually liked each other. Later, when Lucas and I confessed our feelings, he was surprised, saying he had never written me any love letters. After thinking about it carefully, I realized something was off. Lucas's personality didn't seem like the type to write such cheesy words, and the handwriting didn't match either. After saying this, Lily happily hugged Lucas's arm, winked at me, her eyes full of gratitude. Sophia, did you already know that Lucas and I liked each other, which is why you wrote those love letters in his name to help us? You're our matchmaker. You must come to our wedding. Crash. It was the sound of a glass breaking. I didn't even need to look to know it was Ethan. The table fell silent for a moment. Everyone finally noticed Ethan's off mood. Ethan clicked his tongue and spat out 2 words viciously. Damn it, disgusting. Everyone thought his bad mood was because the glass fell. He was known to be a neat freak. Only I knew he was cursing me. I ignored it, took a tissue, and slowly wiped my mouth. A quick-witted classmate tried to lighten the mood. It's fine, breaking is a sign of peace. Breaking is peace, we can just ask the waiter for another one. Ethan, it's just a glass, no need to get angry. It's not like it's valuable. Of course, it wasn't a big deal. This hotel belonged to Ethan's family. He wouldn't care about a single glass. What he cared about was someone else. People around laughed. Our belle Lily and the class president are about to get married. Such a happy occasion, can't you smile? Why the long face? Who pissed you off? Could it be that seeing the happy couple makes you want to fall in love too? Yeah, Ethan, speaking of which, you used to get along well with your little desk mate. I remember on your first day transferring to our class, you sat right next to Sophia without hesitation. You too. Any sparks? Then Ethan, who had been silent, spoke up angrily. Get lost, I don't like tomboys. I paused while wiping my mouth and frowned at Ethan. Sure enough, the next second, the topic shifted to me. They started talking about how I had a buzz cut in high school, wore the same clothes for 3 or 4 days, and smelled like garbage. Ethan, back then, did you sit next to Sophia because you mistook her for a boy with that buzz cut? So you never even saw her as a girl? I knew it, someone like you, a young master, would at least date a belle like our Lily, not someone like Sophia, ha ha ha. Speaking of which, Ethan, you're a neat freak. How did you put up with the garbage smell on Sophia? Maybe the young master has unique tastes and likes that smell? I lowered my head, feeling like it was hard to breathe. Back then my family was too poor. We lived in a stuffy iron shed, sweltering in summer, sweating non-stop as soon as we stepped inside. I only had my grandfather, who was disabled and could only make a living by collecting garbage. The money from selling scrap was barely enough to keep us fed. Water and electricity were luxuries. I couldn't keep long hair like other girls because we didn't have extra water to wash it. I only had 2 sets of clothes that fit, picked out by my grandfather, identical, not that I didn't change, but because they were dried near the garbage pile, they carried a smell. During the most sensitive years of my youth, I faced many embarrassing moments. That was a past I didn't want to recall or mention, yet it became the butt of their jokes over drinks. Ethan slammed the table irritably, pointing at the ones talking, cutting them off sharply. Shut your mouths if you don't want to die. I couldn't sit through such an atmosphere and left early. After leaving the private room, I went straight to the staff room, took a shower, changed into my uniform. It was exactly 11 p.m. I swapped shifts with a colleague and started working. After graduation, I had been working at this hotel, now as the front office manager. Staring at the hotel's logo on the computer, I zoned out a bit. This hotel belonged to Ethan's family. He was basically my boss. He inspected frequently, and we often ran into each other, but he never once looked me in the eye. Dealing with complicated reports made me irritable, and I couldn't help but think of Ethan's tomboy comment at the reunion, which had brought up my past for discussion. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I threw the report on the desk, went to the front desk to check the occupancy of the presidential suite for the night. Sure enough, Ethan, drunk, hadn't gone home but was staying there. I went up immediately, walked to Ethan's suite, and swiped my card to enter. I had no other intentions. I was just pissed. I wanted to curse him out to his face. If he was too drunk to remember, even better. Maybe slap him a few times. But as soon as the door opened, seeing me, Ethan threw a water bottle at me. I dodged it. Sophia, how dare you mess with me? I picked up the water bottle, opened it, and took a sip. Yeah, I'm messing with you, so what? Ethan was drunk, had trashed the room. He was also speaking without filter. All manners gone. He walked straight over, grabbed my neck, pinned me against the door, cursing vilely. Since I came to curse too, I gave as good as I got. We started arguing. Somehow, it escalated, and we began fighting. Ethan used to be the school bully, but I was no pushover either. I pulled his hair, tore his clothes. In the end, we were deadlocked, neither giving in. I started biting him. In pain, he suddenly grabbed my chin, lowered his head, and sealed my mouth with a kiss. We spent the night in a desperate tangle. The next day, I left before he woke up. I had hit him hard the night before. He was covered in bloody scratches and bite marks. Afraid he'd come after me for revenge once sober, I felt guilty and scared. I secretly checked the floor surveillance and found it was broken, still under repair. I breathed a sigh of relief. Then, I resigned outright and hid. I changed jobs, still busy. The pregnancy didn't make my belly very big. The slight bulge I just thought was weight gain from work stress. It wasn't until a checkup that I found out I was pregnant. Exactly 28 weeks. I recounted the events of that night to Ethan, feeling somewhat wronged. You started it that night. You kissed me first. I struggled, even hit you, but you seemed to have some kind of kink. The harder I hit you, the more excited you got, and it hurt so much. He seemed inexperienced, rough yet awkward and defiant. You knew I was drunk and not clear-headed. And who said you could come to my room? The guest was destroying the room. I had the right to intervene. It's my family's hotel. I can do whatever the hell I want. Tears streamed down my face. But I'm not yours. You can't just do whatever to me. Sophia, damn it. Shut up. Ethan ruffled his hair in frustration. He said coldly, get rid of the child. I'll pay whatever it takes. I'm not marrying you. Why not? A clear female voice came from beside us. Ethan and I turned to look. A well-dressed, elegant middle-aged woman walked toward us. From her appearance, she was Ethan's mother. She came over, stood protectively in front of me and said to Ethan, you will marry her. Her tone brooked no argument. She must have heard our entire conversation. Ethan seemed somewhat afraid of his mother, replying defiantly yet weakly, I'd rather be single my whole life than marry her. The woman slapped Ethan across the face. Brat. Don't talk nonsense. I was stunned. Ethan glared at me angrily, turned, and stormed off. His mother held my hand, her expression softening from the earlier sternness, now gentle and kind. I stared at her blankly. She assured me, don't worry, as long as I'm here, he will marry you. This child will be born. Ethan's mother took me to the hospital to check the baby's gender and confirmed paternity through a blood test. She settled me in a safe place to rest and await the birth. During the pregnancy, I heard that the current head of the Chen family was critically ill, and the inheritance battle had begun. The Chen family had 4 sons. Ethan was the youngest, had been in the company for a short time, and had the lowest chance of winning. Their critically ill father, in his 70s, wished to see his grandson born before he died. He even threatened to leave all his assets to his eldest grandson. If there was no grandson, he'd donate everything. Perhaps it was karma for his philandering youth. Among the 4 sons, the eldest was impotent, the second wasn't straight, the third was no longer male. The only seemingly normal one, Ethan, was hung up on an unrequited love, refusing to marry. This worried Ethan's mother greatly. This woman, who had been a caged bird for over 20 years, longed to stand tall for once. But her son would rather die than cooperate. Mai and the baby's appearance was her lifesaver. 2 months later, the baby was born smoothly. I moved into a top-tier postnatal care center that cost over $1 million, something I'd never dared dream of before. Though Ethan was unwilling and uncooperative, under his mother's absolute authority, he still married me and got the marriage certificate. After becoming Ethan's wife, I often felt dazed, as if it had all gone too smoothly, like a dream. So smoothly that it made me uneasy. I had thought that upon learning of my pregnancy, given his attitude toward me, Ethan would have tried everything to get rid of the child, even against my will. I thought that even after the birth, forced by his mother, he wouldn't marry me, and I'd have no status. I thought that, hating me so much, Ethan would despise the child too. But none of that happened. During my postnatal period, he visited frequently. But not to see me, to see the child. He would carefully hold the baby, coax and play with him, learning from the nanny how to change diapers and bathe him. I figured, this child helped him secure the inheritance. He was basically his benefactor. Of course he'd cherish him. Ethan remained cold toward me, the hatred in his eyes unmistakable. I simply ignored it. After all, now I had everything I wanted except love, and love was the least valuable thing. Throughout the entire postnatal period, Ethan didn't speak a word to me. The nanny urged him to visit me, but he always refused outright. Not going. Why would I see her? To disgust myself. Whether she lives or dies is none of my business. Best if she disappears right now. Eventually, the nanny stopped persuading him, just looked at me with pity. When I was about to leave the postnatal center, he finally came to my room, bringing a contract. He tossed the document on the table, his expression cold and arrogant. Sign it. We'll divorce in a year. You helped me secure the inheritance. I won't shortchange you financially, but you need to know your place. Don't get any ideas you shouldn't. I told you, I'd rather be single forever, grow old alone than be with you. I'm not one to cling, so I agreed outright. I picked up the contract, signed my name boldly, closed it, and handed it to him. Seeing this, Ethan's confident expression froze. He didn't take it. I looked at him puzzled. He seemed slightly flustered, asking uncertainly, "You're serious? You agree? Not tricking me again?" I met his gaze calmly, nodding obediently. "As long as the money's right, I'll stay as far away as you want." He pressed further as if unwilling to believe. "What about Ning Ning?" Ning Ning was our child's nickname, given by Ethan. "After we divorce, he stays with you. Treat him well. He's your benefactor. Of course, as long as the money's right, he can call someone else Mom. I don't mind." After I said this, Ethan frowned, gritting his teeth, as if dissatisfied with my words. He snatched the contract, pointed at me. "Fine, just great, Sophia. You're ruthless, utterly heartless. You don't want me or the child. All you care about is money, you vicious woman." Ethan clutched the contract and stormed out, slamming the door. After he left, I burst out laughing, a triumphant, revengeful laugh. He didn't know. A week earlier, when he came to the postnatal center, I overheard his entire phone call on the balcony. He seemed to be making a bet with his rivals. They were betting whether I schemed and clung to him with the child to marry him for himself or for the Chen family's money. Ethan actually bet it was for him. She must like me to go this far, setting so many traps, going through all this trouble to get pregnant, and proposing the moment she found me. Only someone head over heels would take such a risk. I suspected she had designs on me since high school. Now she works at my family's hotel just to see me. You should have seen how happy she was when she found out she could marry me. She couldn't stop smiling. Money? Money's no match for my charm. I almost couldn't listen anymore. Who did he think he was? In the end, he said proudly and confidently, "Fine, bet on it. I bet she won't sign that contract. She likes me too much to choose money." Same stakes. You're going to lose. I didn't know what the stakes were. But I wasn't about to let Ethan win. Besides, how could he compare to money? I chose money. A few days later, Ethan, who had been staying elsewhere, suddenly came home. He appeared before me with a stern face, the dim yellow light casting soft shadows on his sharp features, making his cold eyes seem almost tender. His lips moved stiffly as he mumbled vaguely, "Sophia, I want to be your dog." Me? Is he on something? I looked at him puzzled, but soon realized this was the bet he'd made with his friends. So, losing meant he had to be my dog. For a year, he added. I relaxed, asking, "Oh? How exactly does that work?" Ethan turned away like a forced innocent, replying awkwardly, "My life as a dog is to serve my wife. To obey my wife's every command. My wife ordering me is an honor, a blessing. I was born to be Sophia's dog. Running errands for her is my greatest joy. I should be grateful and eager to carry out her orders." This sycophantic dialogue was clearly scripted by his rivals. They were probably on a call, laughing their heads off. Though their intention was to mess with Ethan, I had to admit, it felt good. I stifled a laugh, keeping a straight face, and confirmed, "So you'll do whatever I say, right?" Ethan, red-faced, muttered resentfully, "Aren't you going to ask why I'm being your dog?" I shrugged. "Does it matter? You're not the only one who wants to be my dog. You have other dogs?" Ethan raised his voice, startling me. "My dog isn't allowed to bark so loud." He wanted to retort, but I narrowed my eyes at him, and he immediately shut up, sulking as he sat beside me. "From now on, you can order me to do anything," he said softly, in a reluctant tone. "All bark, no bite, and a fool to boot." I glanced at my phone, then looked up and started ordering him around. I had him fetch tea and water, give me massages, wash my feet, wash and blow dry my hair. Then I let the nanny rest and made him bathe, feed, change diapers, and put Ning Ning to sleep. After all that, Ethan was exhausted and said, "Can I take a break?" I nodded. "Sure. Next Saturday, come with me to Lily's wedding." At the class reunion, Ethan had secretly torn up the invitation Lily gave him. He didn't want to attend his white moonlight's wedding. So I insisted he go see the woman he loved marry someone else. Ethan frowned, threw the diaper into the trash hard, and said angrily, "Sophia, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you?" I adjusted my coat, leaned back lazily on the sofa, playing with my manicure, and replied, "Yep, because I'm a tomboy who holds a grudge. Besides, you played a part in them getting together, thanks to all those love letters you wrote. Don't you want to see the love you helped create?" Ethan cut me off, threatening, "Don't bring that up. You're a scheming woman. Just wait. I'll get back at you someday." I covered his mouth, leaned in and whispered, "A disobedient dog gets put down." Ethan fell silent. He did go with me to Lily and Lucas's wedding, but he wore a cold expression the whole time. When the couple kissed, he leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms and sneered, "That nerd doesn't kiss as well as I do." I shot back, "But he gets to kiss Lily and you don't. You lost." Surprisingly, Ethan wasn't angered. He just tapped the tip of his shoe against my calf absent-mindedly and asked casually, "Hey, am I a better kisser than him?" I ignored him. "How would I know? You're the only woman I've kissed. You took my first kiss. You'd better set the record straight for me." Images of kissing Ethan popped into my head. It was embarrassing. "You're almost 30 and that was your first kiss? Are you sure you're not lacking? Who said my first kiss was recent?" Before Ethan could finish, a commotion broke out in front. We looked over. A crowd had gathered around Lily. Her face and neck were covered in red splotches. An allergic reaction. From what people around said, she had accidentally drunk fruit punch mixed with blueberry juice. Lily was allergic to blueberries. I knew that, but Ethan didn't. He asked, confused, "But isn't Lily's favorite fruit blueberries?" As soon as he said that, the classmates around fell silent. Because everyone in our class knew that Lily was allergic to blueberries and nuts. Several times after eating them, her reaction was so severe she had to have her stomach pumped. Fortunately, someone present had brought anti-allergy ointment, and since Lily had only taken a small sip, it wasn't serious. The minor incident quickly passed. I watched Ethan quietly. He looked in Lily's direction, his expression grave. After the wedding ended, I asked Ethan to drive me home. We sat in the car for a long time, but he didn't start the engine. I reminded him, "What are you waiting for? Drive." Ethan said with displeasure, "Sophia, Lily is allergic to blueberries." I nodded and said, Ethan's tone was unhappy. "Back then when I asked you what fruit she liked, you told me her favorites were blueberries and cherries. What did you mean by that?" I replied lightly, "You believed me just like that? Everyone in the class knew about her allergy. You had a crush on her for so long, but you didn't even know this. With your lack of attention, even if I hadn't schemed against you, you would never have caught up with Lily in your lifetime." Ethan was speechless. Then he asked again, "What about the blueberries and cherries I bought back then for you to give to her?" I raised an eyebrow. "Don't worry, they weren't wasted. I enjoyed them all myself. Back then, I was too poor to afford expensive fruits like blueberries and cherries. Chocolate and nuts were things I'd only seen in books or advertisements. But I was so hungry, so craving. Later, I heard from other classmates that Ethan's family was very rich. So, I set my sights on him. He asked me to help deliver love letters. Was it too much for me to take a little commission? Having been his deskmate for so long, I knew that although he didn't have good grades and liked to form cliques and fight, he seemed arrogant but was actually quite silly. Single-minded, guileless, and easy to fool. When I listed the things I liked to eat under Lily's name, I was actually very nervous. But he believed me at the time. Whatever I said, he would eagerly go buy it, and in large quantities. What a fool. And now the fool knew the truth. He was furious. Ethan slammed the steering wheel hard, gritting his teeth. You've been scheming against me since back then? Sophia, I hate deception the most. What other things have you lied to me about? Tell me everything now, or if I find out later, I'll definitely make you regret it. I thought for a moment, then answered, let's get this straight first. After I tell you, you can't hit me. When have I ever hit you? You're the one who hits me, okay? Hurry up and tell me. I met his gaze and confessed honestly. The night after the college entrance exam, when you were drinking in the equipment room, the next day your lips were swollen and bleeding at the corners. It wasn't a dog bite. That night, Ethan planned to confess but saw Lily and Lucas together. He was depressed and upset, hiding in the sports equipment room to drink. I was at school collecting plastic bottles and discarded textbooks to sell as scrap. Passing the equipment room, I saw bottles and cans scattered all over the floor, and Ethan, half drunk. I really wanted those cans and glass bottles, but he hadn't finished drinking yet. So, I squatted by the door, waiting quietly. I waited for 2 hours, listening to him cry for 2 hours, and incidentally fed a whole playground of mosquitoes. I got too impatient waiting, rushed into the equipment room, snatched the bottle from his hand, and drank it all in one go. Ethan was already drunk. He let out a drunken hiccup, collapsed on the mat, mumbling something I couldn't understand. For the sake of the bottles, I drank the remaining alcohol for him. By the end, I was a bit drunk too. I collected the bottles, then stretched out my foot to kick Ethan. Sensing movement, he weakly waved his hand, turned over to face me. Moonlight streamed through the window, falling on the young man's quiet, flushed, handsome face. His breathing was shallow, his whole body smelled of alcohol, his lips were red and tender, looking very kissable. I swallowed hard, my grip on the burlap sack loosened, accompanied by the sound of clinking glass bottles. I knelt down, supporting myself on my knees. Then, I pinned the semi-conscious Ethan on the mat and kissed him repeatedly. I have great lung capacity, and combined with the alcohol, I almost kissed him to death. At the graduation ceremony the next day, Ethan appeared with his lips still bleeding and swollen like sausages. He asked me somewhat resentfully, "Hey, Sophia, do you know what happened to my mouth? I think I saw you passing by the equipment room yesterday." I felt guilty and quickly made up a story. I saw a dog go in. Probably a dog bit you. Ethan went to get a rabies vaccine that very night. After I finished speaking, Ethan just looked at me calmly, not as surprised as I had imagined. He waved a hand. I know about this one. It doesn't count. You knew. Now it was my turn to be stunned. You knew, but you still went to get the rabies vaccine the next day? Ethan scratched his head, somewhat embarrassed. I went for the vaccine because on my way home after the graduation ceremony, I kicked over a dog's bowl in an alley, was chased by the dog, my legs were weak, I couldn't run fast enough, and got bitten on the butt. I fell silent. After a moment, I realized something and asked, "You knew it was me kissing you? Why didn't you resist at the time?" Ethan glared at me and complained, "I remember resisting, but every time I resisted, you hit me, and even spat alcohol in my face. Damn it, I have OCD, don't you know?" I didn't speak. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. After a while Ethan asked again, "What else? What else what? What other things have you lied to me about?" I pursed my lips, rubbed my nose, a sign of my guilt. But I still answered firmly, "There's nothing else. I haven't deceived you about anything else." Ethan also fell silent. He frowned, glanced at me, and drove home quietly. I turned away, looked out the window, my heart heavy as if blocked by a boulder. Since I could get the money after the divorce in a year, for safety's sake, it was better not to mention other things. My pregnancy wasn't an accident, and I didn't only find out I was pregnant at 7 months. Right after graduation, my grandfather fell seriously ill. I borrowed money everywhere for his treatment, but in the end, he passed away. I had no family left, only student loans and the debt from my grandfather's illness. While I was lost, wondering how to quickly repay these hundreds of thousands, I ran into Ethan. He came to inspect the hotel, and I was responsible for receiving him. He looked at the name tag pinned to my suit jacket, raised an eyebrow slightly. "Sophia? I know someone I dislike with the same name." He didn't seem to recognize that I was the person he disliked. Coincidentally, I disliked him quite a bit too. After work, curious, I looked up Ethan's family background online and saw the gossip news about his father seeking a grandson. A thought suddenly occurred to me. A plan with extremely high risk but also extremely high reward. I wanted to get pregnant with Ethan's child, secretly give birth, and then use the child to force him to give me money. Ideally, I could rely on him to marry into a wealthy family and escape poverty. But this was just a small hope of mine. After all, Ethan didn't like me. My looks aren't outstanding, my personality isn't very smooth, I couldn't scheme against other wealthy men, and I didn't dare to. But this Ethan, I knew him relatively well. He was easier to fool. I'd start with him. Take a gamble. What if I really got the money? What if I really gained status through my child? He hadn't gotten married or been in a relationship all these years. I guessed he was still thinking about Lily. But Lily was already taken. He probably had no chance. I thought maliciously, the woman you hate the most has taken you and is carrying your child. You'll go crazy, right? Making you unhappy would make me ecstatic. Before I could perfect this plan, the class reunion happened. That night, when I went to his room, it wasn't to curse or hit him. It was to sleep with him. If he refused to take off his clothes, I tore them. If he opened a condom, I threw all the condoms under the bed. If he resisted, I hit him until he was aroused. The next day, when I went to delete the surveillance video, I found the cameras were broken. I secretly rejoiced. Heaven helps me, this is in the bag. I hid away. The pregnancy test was bought online. The prenatal checkups were done secretly at a small clinic. Until it was a done deal, I appeared when his father was dying and his mother was desperate. During those days I waited for Ethan. I wasn't waiting for him, but for his mother. I wanted his mother to know I was pregnant. Later, everything went so smoothly, which I hadn't expected. Ethan actually compromised and married a woman he thoroughly disliked, especially since it was me. I think he did it, perhaps for the inheritance, perhaps forced by his mother's order, or perhaps since he couldn't marry the one he loved, anyone would do. Since Ethan had chosen to accept this accident, I didn't need to complicate things. I'd go with the flow. My goal was to smoothly get the money from the divorce settlement. But I still felt uneasy. My intuition told me that Ethan asking like that meant he wasn't completely in the dark. A few days later, I expressed to Ethan my desire to return to work at the hotel. Ethan agreed without a word and arranged it for me. At the hotel, it was the same as before. I would run into Ethan from time to time. The difference was, in the past, he would ignore me. Now, his gaze would inadvertently linger on me. But we both tacitly ignored each other, pretending not to know one another. One evening, I said I was working overtime and didn't go home. Just past midnight, I suddenly received a message from Ethan. Ning Ning says he misses you. He can't even roll over yet. How could he tell you that? I said it for him. I frowned. Trying to evoke my maternal instinct to make me go back and take care of the child? That's impossible. I replied. Don't speak for him next time. We agreed you'd be my dog for a year. I told you to take care of the child. You can't refuse. Ethan replied pitifully. I didn't mean that. If there's nothing else, shut up. He didn't reply again. I put away my phone, got up and went to the security office. I said to the colleague on duty, I'd like to check the surveillance maintenance records from a year ago. The colleague, seeing it was me, immediately went to look. While searching, he chatted with me. Sis Nan, what do you need the maintenance records for? The hotel surveillance was renovated a year ago. There's basically been no repairs. Was the surveillance on the top floor suite never repaired? The colleague looked blank and shook his head. Sis, that's even more impossible. The surveillance there is checked almost daily. How could it be broken? If something happened to someone staying up there, we couldn't bear the responsibility. Just give me the maintenance records first. The colleague found them and handed them to me. I looked through them. Sure enough, in the month of our class reunion, there was no record of any surveillance maintenance. The colleague added, Sis, you're looking at the records for October? You were still here that month, right? Nothing happened. But I remember one day, young Master Chen came. In the early morning, he suddenly called me and told me to tell everyone the top floor surveillance was broken. At noon, he came and copied a segment of the video, and deleted it from our system after copying. I figured since he's the only one living on that floor, it should be fine, so I agreed. Which day was it? October. I forgot the exact date. It was around the time you resigned. I was stunned, instantly feeling a chill down my spine. Ethan knew everything. He wasn't completely passed out that night. After a whole night of activity, he was still conscious enough to get up and make a phone call to give instructions. He deliberately made me think the surveillance was broken. And he specifically came to save the footage of me entering and leaving his room. What did he want to do? He really wasn't that easy to fool after all. My thoughts were in chaos. When I got home in the morning, Ethan had already left. But on the dining table, he had left breakfast prepared for me. The nanny, holding Ning Ning, said to me, "The young master didn't look well when he got up this morning. He said he had no appetite. But he was worried you'd be hungry when you got back, so he made breakfast before leaving. He was in such a hurry he even cut his finger." I smiled but didn't say anything. I wasn't in the mood to eat that breakfast. My mind was full of the surveillance issue. While the nanny took Ning Ning out, I sneaked into Ethan's room. During the time we lived together, we kept our distance and always slept in separate rooms. This was the first time I had entered his room. The room was spacious, simply decorated. The air still carried the milky scent of Ning Ning. He often would take Ning Ning to his room to soothe him to sleep, then have the nanny take him away. I walked further in, looking around. I saw a smooth white fabric peeking out from under the gray-black quilt on the bed. I lifted the quilt. It was actually my nightgown. How did it get here? I picked up the wrinkled nightgown. It was also torn. Damn it, Ethan, are you doing any good? I've heard that deliberately ruining someone's clothes can bring them bad luck. Do you want to kill me that much? I was so angry, I immediately cut up 2 pairs of his underwear. I rummaged through his cabinet and found a hidden document folder. I opened it. Inside were my prenatal checkup reports from the first 7 months of pregnancy, and photos of me with my pregnant belly, taken from a secretive angle. What chilled me the most was a mouthwash packaging bag. Rose-flavored mouthwash. It was from the morning after I was with Ethan. When I woke up and was getting dressed, I looked at him. I felt inexplicably reluctant to leave, inexplicably wanting to kiss him. I casually grabbed a mouthwash, rinsed my mouth, and with the full rose flavor, carefully pressed my lips to his again, kissing him for a few minutes. I wanted to be forceful, but was afraid of waking him. In the end, he didn't open his eyes. When I left, I was still smug, thinking my kissing skills were amazing, that I could control it perfectly. Looking at these things that could be called evidence or exhibits, my legs went weak, and I collapsed to my knees. The scheme I thought was flawless was actually entirely within Ethan's control. I thought of the agreement contract. It promised that after a year, we would divorce, and I would get a substantial share of the assets. But if by then, Ethan produced this evidence and sued me, not only would I get nothing, but I might also face jail time, or even have to pay him a large sum of money. I wanted to ruin him, and similarly, he had no intention of letting me go. When Ethan said he would kill me, he really meant it. I felt uneasy all day. When holding Ning Ning, he looked at me with his big eyes, his tiny hand gripping my finger tightly. My child already knew how to grasp things. When he learns to crawl, to walk, to call mommy and daddy. I looked at his features, which were growing more and more like mine, and felt even worse. Actually, I couldn't bear the thought of my child calling another woman mommy. I sat blankly on the balcony all day, unable to decide what to do. Should I come clean with him? I thought about the last time he asked me if there was anything else I had lied to him about. He said if there was, he would definitely kill me. He hated deception the most. In the evening, Ethan came home. I immediately found an excuse and hid in my room. I didn't even have the heart to order him around, and avoided him for several days in a row. Ethan seemed to notice. Late one night, he suddenly knocked on my door. Ning Ning wet my bed. Ah! I have nowhere to sleep. No, he was wearing a diaper. How could he wet it? Don't worry about that. The next second, he pushed his way into my room without another word. As soon as he entered, he confronted me abruptly. Sophia, what do you mean by this? I thought he was here to settle accounts and tried to explain. I didn't. Why haven't you been ordering me around lately? Question mark. If you don't order me around, how can I fulfill the bet? I see. I lowered my head, thought for a while, then looked up at him cautiously. So whatever I say now, you'll agree, right? Yes. Then I'll say it? Go ahead. Seeing him so agreeable, I immediately brought it up. After the divorce, can you let me visit Ning Ning more often? Actually, I also wanted to say that I couldn't bear the thought of Ning Ning calling another woman mommy. But I didn't dare, so I said, if you must find a stepmother for Ning Ning, make sure she is good to him, or I'll fight you to the death. Ethan was taken aback. He grunted a muffled, He got on my bed, rested his head on his hands, and started to sleep. I lay on the other side, wide awake. A little angry, I stretched out my foot to kick him. Ethan hissed in pain, reached out, and grabbed my foot under the covers. Sophia, are you a dog? Kicking hurt so much. I couldn't be bothered with small talk and got straight to the point. After the divorce, the child comes with me. Why? No reason. I gave birth to him, so I want him with me. You're my dog now, nod your head. Ethan moved closer and asked, No, I mean why get a divorce? Question mark. I counted on my fingers and told him, there are still 4 months left until the contract expires. Ethan looked up, thought for a moment. Oh, that contract. I didn't sign it. It never took effect. I sat up immediately. What do you mean? You didn't sign it? No, why would I sign it? Ethan, are you messing with me? I raised my hand, ready to hit him. Ethan grabbed my hand and gently put it down. Calm down, calm down. I took a deep breath, took out the surveillance stuff in the document folder, and came clean with him. And sincerely apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to deceive you. Okay, I did it on purpose, but... I couldn't go on. I realized I had no right to apologize. You've been avoiding me these past few days because of this? Otherwise? I hadn't figured out how to make you let me off. Ethan chuckled. I've been very well behaved lately. What have I done to you? You said you hate deception, and that people who deceive you end up badly. I do hate being deceived by others, but the ones I allow don't count. I was stunned. Why would you allow me? Ethan thought as he spoke. I don't know. Even though I dislike you, you're always messing with me and scheming against me. But I can see through your little tricks at a glance. Yet, I just like it when you think I don't know when you're sneaky and smug. That day, I thought you just wanted to sleep with me, but you even ended up pregnant. I really underestimated you. I snorted. When you found out I was pregnant, you were furious, right? A little at first, but then I thought about you being pregnant alone, still having to work, and I felt sorry for you. I asked him what he meant by secretly printing my prenatal checkups and keeping the mouthwash packaging. I'm the child's father. Can't I know if my wife and child are healthy? The mouthwash. That scent was nice. I kept it, hoping you'd use that scent and kiss me again someday. Suddenly he leaned close to my ear and whispered, I'm not that easy to get drunk. Has no one ever told you that a man who's truly passed out drunk can't get it up? I pushed him away and said, When I came to you with a child, you seemed genuinely angry and embarrassed. It didn't seem like you knew. Had to act convincing, or you might not have believed it. I pondered for a moment, then asked again, I want to know in this situation if we divorce, can I still get the money? Sophia, is there anything else in your heart besides divorce? For example? Yes, there is money. Ethan pressed down on me, annoyed. My underwear is ruined. I have nothing to wear tonight. You only have 2 pairs? How do you know? Did you ruin them? He lowered his head, gently pecked my lips. It tasted like roses. Do you like this scent? Say you like it 10,000. I blurted out. I like it. Will you do it? Say do it. 50,000. Do it, 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 do it. You ask me if I like Ethan? I don't know either. But he said calling him husband once earns me 100,000, and saying, I love you doubles it. Who could refuse that? Only a fool would turn down easy money.
Ethan's side story. There was a stunning, aloof beauty in class 3 named Lily. Many boys were pursuing her, but she rejected them all. The guys around Ethan were no exception. Their most discussed topic every day was how to win Lily over. Ethan wasn't interested in that sort of thing. He hung out with them mainly because they were good at skipping class without the teachers noticing. Ethan didn't like attending class. He didn't care what they were talking about. Suddenly, someone patted his shoulder. "Brother Joe, you're so handsome, why don't you go after Lily?" They made a bet with Ethan. If he could win Lily over, they'd buy him the game console he wanted most. At that time, because of his poor grades, Ethan's allowance from home was meager, and the game console was especially expensive. So he went for it. He'd never pursued a girl before. But he thought girls must like devoted, loyal guys. So when he transferred classes, he plopped himself down next to a male student. This male deskmate of his was named Sophia. She had a buzz cut, was quite cute, her eyes darting around, seeming clever. But she talked very little. Ethan was a chatterbox. Going a day without talking to someone was agony. But Sophia seemed a bit withdrawn and didn't want to engage with him. So Ethan started helping Sophia fetch water, do classroom duties, and telling her bad jokes to make her laugh. When others said his deskmate was an orphan from the garbage dump, he dragged that person into an alley and beat him up. After that, no one dared to speak ill of Sophia again. Finally, Sophia started laughing at his bad jokes. She even took a piece of candy from her backpack and gave it to him. When Ethan took the candy, he actually saw his deskmate's face blush a little. Did this mean they had become friends? Ethan wondered. So he slung an arm around Sophia's shoulder and struck up a conversation. "Buddy, I have a crush on Lily. You've been classmates with her for a while. Teach me how to win her over." Sophia was stunned. She scratched her buzz cut, pulled a sanitary pad she was about to change out of her pocket, and said to Ethan, "I'm a girl. Call me." Ethan was also dumbfounded. His deskmate was a girl? Sis? A few days later, a rumor suddenly spread at school. Ethan had declared that the person he transferred to class 3 to pursue was that neither male nor female, Sophia. They said Ethan deliberately sat next to Sophia as soon as he arrived, put his arm around her shoulder, and even beat up the grade dean's son to defend her. Ethan hurried to clarify that he didn't like Sophia. The rumors persisted and intensified. But Sophia had heard enough nasty talk before. She had learned to block it out, so she didn't know about the rumors of Ethan liking her. She only knew that her deskmate, that particularly arrogant but kind to her deskmate, after finding out she was a girl, had suddenly become a different person. When Ethan had low blood sugar, Sophia took a toffee from her backpack and offered it to him. He didn't take it, frowned and asked, "Is this shit?" "No, I mean, what is this?" Sophia stared at the toffee in her hand and didn't speak. Just yesterday, he had asked her if she could bring him another one tomorrow. On a rainy day, Ethan took her umbrella. The next day, he didn't return it and said casually, "Lost it." That umbrella was one her grandfather had scavenged for 3 days to afford. She loved it, had used it for 6 years, and just like that, Ethan lost it. Sophia was furious, raised her hand to hit him. Ethan immediately drew a line on the desk, warning Sophia not to cross it, acting as if he wanted nothing to do with her. Sophia said to him, "If it's really that unbearable, you change seats." Ethan, reluctant to give up the back row, said stubbornly, "Why should I be the one to move?" "You move." "Stop. Don't cross the line. Your smell is bothering me. I don't like you. Stay away from me. I only like Lily." Sophia looked at him, her eyes emotionless, and said nothing. The next day, Sophia suddenly said to Ethan, "I have a way for you to win over Lily. Do you want to hear it?" A way to get the game console? He had to hear it. What way? Ethan asked immediately. Sophia roughly outlined a plan to chase the class bell. Ethan thought it was great and immediately appointed Sophia as his strategist. Sophia really put her heart into helping him pursue Lily, not even charging a cent. She would tell him in detail what Lily liked and disliked. She taught him how to write love letters, telling him, "Lily doesn't like signed love letters. Whatever you do, don't write your name on them." Ethan was puzzled. Then how will she know it's from me? Sophia blinked, looking sincere. "I'll tell her." After he wrote them, she actively helped deliver them. When Sophia handed the love letters to Lily, Lily would see the letter and ask Sophia, "Who's this from?" Sophia didn't remember many boys' names in the class. She thought for a moment and said, Lucas? That gentle, kind, academically excellent class president who often helped Sophia. The day she had no umbrella to go home, it was the class president who kindly shared his. Sophia thought only a boy like that deserved a girl as wonderful as the class belle. Ethan? He wasn't worthy. When Lily heard the name, Lucas, she blushed. Afterwards, Sophia told Ethan that Lily liked him very much, that she blushed when she received his love letters. Ethan was relieved, thinking to himself, this is in the bag. But gradually he felt something was off. After giving so many treats and writing so many love letters, Lily still wouldn't even look at him. Even when handing out assignments, she couldn't match his name to his face. Instead, whenever she saw that nerdy class president, her face turned as red as a monkey's bottom. Ethan found it strange and vaguely felt he was being deceived. He asked Sophia. Sophia said, the class belle is reserved. You need to be patient. Yesterday, when she received your blueberry cake, she smiled like a flower. She read your love letter several times and even folded it neatly into her diary. It's just that with the college entrance exam coming up, the class belle said she isn't considering a relationship for now. Try again after the exam. Ethan believed her. He thought this desk mate was reliable. It was settled. After the exam, Ethan thought more about his game console. He planned to confess to Lily in person. Sophia told him Lily was waiting for him in the small bamboo grove. He went. The newly adult young man witnessed a shocking kissing scene. He suddenly understood. Sophia had fooled him. He lost the bet. The game console was gone. Ethan was deeply frustrated. While everyone was celebrating the end of the exams, he spent all his money on a case of alcohol. He hid in the equipment room, drinking secretly. That Sophia was utterly unreliable. And she lied to him. He hated deception most of all. He'd settle the score with her tomorrow. Ethan had a naturally high alcohol tolerance. At most, he'd just get full from drinking. His face would get red, but his mind stayed clear. He saw Sophia at the door, then she came in later and snatched his alcohol. He wanted to curse at her, but the words wouldn't come out. The girl silently drank the rest of his alcohol. Collected the bottles, dragged the sack, ready to leave. Ethan sank down, somewhat disappointed. Oh, so she wasn't here to keep him company after all? The moment he saw her, a look of disgust appeared on Ethan's face. Nothing gained. But the next second, amidst the dizziness, the alcohol-laden girl squatted down, straddled him, leaned down, pressed her lips to his, and kissed him fiercely. Almost kissed him unconscious. The 18-year-old Ethan didn't even realize that the reason he kicked over the dog bowl on a path he'd walked countless times was because of Sophia's soft, tempting kiss. It made him completely lose his focus. He completely forgot that he hated deception most of all.